And now we're gonna get to season 4, Drake Josh. Season 4. Man, I'm trying to get done this record series, but let's start with the first fun one. That is Drake Josh runs into Oprah. Obviously, you guys know Josh being loving Oprah has basically been a running joke in the show. And basically, the episode's basically where Josh basically is his birthday, but then Drake ends up forgetting about it and ends up throwing a party for a girl he only knew for 5 days. And Josh gets pretty upset about it. And Drake realizes his mistake and actually gets some tickets to Oprah. And realizes he accidentally runs over. Oprah! I ran over Oprah. And it basically leads to them that Josh tries to apologize to him, then getting tasered, then 10 Josh has a disease, and then it leads to Josh getting put up Drake, and then Drake apologizes again and getting a restraining order by a signature. And Josh, so yeah. Yeah, brings us that great groovy energy on Slay. Probably not the funniest episode in the world, but definitely one more heartwarming and really tell the relationship between like Drake and Josh and what they mean to each other. And then we get to Fitch's Tight Beers, which is also which is also definitely a pretty funny episode where basically Josh ends up on to Walter's house when she's away. He has this other side plot Walter trying to work out, where everyone makes fun of him trying to work out. And then Drake and Josh have to get trapped in the bathroom with his dog. And that's basically what happens. Also, the exterminator goes up, he ends up getting scared by the dog, and then shows them like trying to escape this dog. And just the wasn't being pure funny. Probably not the most memorable episode in the world, but still a pretty good one. And then get to winning, which also has never been my favorite episode of mine, even though I still do really enjoy it. Again, this is one of the shows, even the weakest episodes, the ones I consider to be pretty good. Basic episode where basically and Captain's getting married and then try to drop off the wedding cake for them so they could get her a beach house. Then Drake ends up making a mistake where he actually gets on the area Drake that had the keys to the car they had, and then shows him trying to Jenkins trying to unlock the car and try to figure out what's going on, and then getting out a lot of people, and the whole Leslie joke is still hilarious. And it ends with them burning down the cake. So yeah, again, not the most memorable of the world, but still a pretty solid one. And then we get, and Alex did the same thing with Minnie Loves Josh, which episode I don't know why I never enjoyed as much as I think I should, honestly. It's basically the Josh and Minnie breakup episode where basically Josh and Minnie end up actually doing a side project together. They end up trying to do their own separate. Josh and Minnie means she loves Josh. She's scared about it. Trick convinces him to break up with her. It leads to some crazy shenanigans that just leads to the breakup anyways. But even Josh actually with a fight match, which actually is a very satisfying moment. Maybe it's just not the most funny episode out there. You can get a fun side plot, basically. Here, revenge on Drake making him Kirky, ends up gives him, he has like this great green, like his arms like actual green, and then getting his foot and hands and lizard even. So, yeah. Still a solid one, just never been a favorite of mine. Yeah, because episodes that I don't think I've been favorites of mine, but episodes I still really enjoy. Again, these bring is all the time difficult, honestly, because even though when you say lower still episodes that I can still enjoy and watch, and Who's Got a Game is still one of them. Basically, a really fun episode, but Josh and Drake try to argue who to get more dates. Josh ends up getting like a lot of different types of dates, and then Drake ends up being a girl he actually falls in love with, which is like, oh my god, Drake actually falling in love with someone! And then basically she's finding out, and shows him trying to be honest, and then after the most important part of the scene is obviously to see where he ends up made dead by his lies and his trickery, which is some heartwarming and some charming moments. Still, a good episode on that. Still a good episode on that. I don't think it's one I really rewatch on them growing up, but it's one I still can put on and still have a great time with. But now we get to a film of mine that is The Great Doheny. One I remember watching a lot growing up, and it's still one of the most hilarious episodes of the entire show. Basically, old musician that Josh Myers ends up way too much drinking Josh and everything, with just some very hilarious magic like moments. And they try to convince him to have a comeback, and then lets them think they actually killed him, but it turns out he actually faked it, which leads to his success going high up again. The band is putting all that stuff, and the last scene, especially the whole deal about Drake. They're trying to Drake to fake. Where are my pants? Drake, the bad Drake leaving. The bad Drake leaving. Have you seen my pants? Like that line just goes up in my head every time. And the late scenes with Walter, we actually kind of make some balls. It's just pretty hilarious. And it gets some pretty fun mega modes as well. So yeah, overall, makes for a really fun episode. And now we get to Sushi, another favorite episode of mine. This episode, basically, they get up trying out for this show called Pump My Room, so they can. A show that basically like, pick my ride and actually decorate rooms. And they try to do it to coincidence with Walter and for the parents' anniversary. And they end up getting robbed. And they're idiots. And the search party, they end up getting stopped by the sushi factory. Because that whole scene where basically they told the guy about him, it's like, and I, yeah, right. And I would have told the girl to change her phone number after the first date. Well, I'll do it. What's wrong with me? Just one job. Like, that's one of the most hilarious things of the entire show. And the whole sushi scene in general is also top tier hilarious. Drake and Josh, like the antics in that scene is just absolutely hilarious from beginning to end. Like, oh my god, I was laughing my ass off during that scene. Laughing my ass off. So at least they're actually getting stuff back, getting good fun sample. I'm Megan actually trying to talk to this guy to basically do pranks for her. And at least it's a very hilarious moment, so towards the end. So yeah, overall, great, fantastic episode. And now we get to Storm, which honestly might be my favorite episode of the entire show. Again, we'll see when we get to my actual ranking at the end. We'll see when I eventually get to my actual overall ranking. But yeah, I think it's actually original my favorite episode when I actually did this list. But it's for a reason, because it's definitely a very iconic episode where basically Jake and his man tries to go outside and a big storm is happening by Walter saying it was like 5 days of sign forecasting. And at least him actually ended up doing that outside, which is just, I mean, you feel bad for him, but hey, got what he deserved. But it does lead to some very hilarious moments. But yeah, it does lead to some very hilarious moments along the scene, like Crazy Steve getting yelled at, Crazy Steve having some of his best moments, yelling at Dora the Explorer of all things. Fred and Eric having the best moments in the entire show. John trying to balance like what his ex-girlfriend is talking about. And again, we get the iconic scene where basically the power goes off and everything. And then you have that iconic real Rocky scene where they... Honestly, I think it's the first time I actually ever heard it. I think that might be the first time I actually heard the actual song "We Will Rock You" by Queen. Yeah. We will rock you. We will rock you. But yeah, I kind of especially this episode be super high on my actual rank. Especially this episode be super high on my ranking. Now we have My Dinner with Bobo, which basically they try to argue on which card they wanted and everything, and which one they actually wanted. And then Dragon ends up spending the money on a monkey to try to see him make more money, and then he ends up this guy for $10,000. Again, the $10,000 dancing scene is also pretty hilarious, but it turns out the guy kind of eats monkeys, which is a weird thing to say from a show like this. But again, not the most memorable episode, but it makes up for being absolutely hilarious. And I say the same thing with Treehouse, which of course has the iconic scene. I mean, we'll see that being the death, where basically it's basically an episode where basically they end up Drake and Josh end up making a ball rocket, they end up showing kids Treehouse, and then they would try to make up for it while Megan missed Fred's birthday party, and then when they end up grounded, Drake ends up drawing a door on it and was going to sell on it, but he was licking straight and he ended up getting trapped. And of course that scene was like, Drake, see you at the door. Like, I mean, that's his also being at this point, but it's one of the most hilarious scenes of the entire show. I don't say it's memorable all the way through, but it's definitely still a great scene. Of course, you gotta kind of like, thanks, have a good day. Don't know what to do. So yeah, definitely not a bit lower than I was expecting, honestly, but it's still a really good episode. Just episodes that get better. So what's that? And now we get to probably the most emotional episode in the entire show, actually, and that is Josh's done. And basically, after the incident where Drake basically ruined a test of him and everything for pulling his bike and realized that Drake is responsible for all the stress in his life, he is like, I'm mad at you. I'm done with you. I don't want anything to do with you anymore. And Drake ends up becoming so much better while Drake literally falls apart. I mean, not literally, but he really does fall apart around Josh, realizing how much he relies on him. And you get some pretty hilarious moments of all that stuff. Of course, you get the iconic scene where basically after an incident happened in the lab, they're like, I'm sorry, I'm like the worst brother ever. You're better off. Like, it's a pretty heartbreaking scene, and Drake Parker really excels here. And the ending scene is just so heartwarming. But despite everything, they do need each other. again, it's pretty much the most emotional episode of the show, and easily one of the show's best by a landslide. I totally forgot how great this episode actually was until I looked back on it, and it's like, yeah, definitely a top tier episode. And then we get to another funny episode in Eric Parsons Dragon. That episode I'm rewatching constantly, and it's still a laugh out loud hilarious episode. I mean, obviously Josh gets a little like too jealous sometimes, which is like, okay, but it still makes for some pretty hilarious moments. Basically, Eric ends up accidentally punching Drake, and he ends up starting to ruin thinking he made fun of Drake made fun of his sister that he served the punch, which messes with reputation a lot, which makes again for some pretty genuine hilarious moments. Especially the ending sequence where Craig ends up singing a song with Drake after he successfully helps him. That goes on. So overall, consistently hilarious. Not much to say. And then we get to Megan's Revenge, which ended up being a bit longer than I expected, but it was still a pretty good episode. Again, it's one that's not memorable grand scheme of things. I mean, the whole scene was basically the end of having a supermodel on the door. That scene is just one of the most hilarious sequences ever. And they end up accidentally killing Megan's hamster, and I mean, you can't tell that the episode wasn't really dead, but I mean, the antics that seem during Josh basically like give panic with Megan. It's kind of hilarious, but it's not the most memorable thing in the world, at least not in this portion, but it's still pretty hilarious. So it's not a terrible episode, and I don't know where it's going to end up in the actual ranking, but it's overall pretty solid. And we get to more hilarious. I feel like I say hilarious a lot, but honestly, this show is absolutely hilarious as we got Steered Straight. An episode I've always done to be incredibly hilarious. Hilarious. That's basically after getting in trouble for using fake IDs, which is all that seems hilarious itself. They end up getting arrested, and they end up getting the vehicle ends up getting stolen by an actual bad guy. At least they're trying to go to the house, and we all get that hilarious sequence they're trying to convince the names that they're just actual psychos, and we get them to leave. And that scene itself is just one of the most another top tier hilarious sequences in the show, and all the back and forth. So it just does what it does, be consistently hilarious. And now we get to another episode of Megan's First Kiss. And this is one of the most wholesome episodes. I mean, of course, it starts, during Josh being like overprotective to Megan and end up ruining the date, Megan's date and everything. Seeing the way they go to try and make an out, that was pretty wholesome, actually. The whole scene with the guy wants a clock, guitar, and asks their pants. Like, oh my god, that scene was just from my head every time. Of course, like, I just go to you will not believe this. Miss Hero died? No! And they found that Corey is actually a two-time cheater, and then he ends up catching him in the act, and then it turns out he just comes through and beats him up really bad. And they get the incredible wholesome scene where Megan actually kisses him, saying, I love you guys. And again, that moment just gives me the butterflies every single time I watch it. Like, that scene alone makes this episode fantastic. And then we move to the Battle of Panther. Episode I remember watching a lot when it aired, because it is another consistently hilarious one. I don't know when it's going to end up being high up in my ranking, but it's still a pretty hilarious episode. As mainly like Drake unintentionally kisses a guy's girlfriend who's hosting like this big extravaganza party was going to have a lot of like big events and big things going on with the characters and all that stuff. And he ends up kissing his girlfriend, and then basically ends up getting invited along with Josh. He tries to give him a signed Beatles album by all 4 members, but he still doesn't get invited, so he basically was like, so at least I'm trying to go back together and everything, which is the more hilarious shenanigans, and even felt like a fight towards the end, which, yeah. Then we get to the big 1 hour special that at the time I remember there might be a big time, really big shrimp. I remember the time they hyped this episode to no end. Like they had this like shocking revelations and something more, and it involves really big shrimp. And it's honestly one of the best episodes of the entire show. This has been one of the most rewatchable episodes of the show, and for good reason. I mean, it started out with basically Josh accidentally eating Crazy Steve's enchilada. I think it's sort of crazy, but he doesn't. And like, you ate my enchilada! No! You ate my enchilada! And then Drake ends up forming for actual management company, and then he ends up getting signed, and then wants to get Josh on contract. And Josh, he just a really big, really big shrimp. Like, oh, I never see shrimp this big. He ends up mixing up the rawness of. He ends up mixing the song in the way that's not Drake. And he ends up finding Josh as the manager, which is kind of what happened in the Drake Josh Hollywood movie, which I probably will talk about after I finish the season. Hey, Lisa shenanigans and everything, and also Ham's grandma staying with them, making basic going in the all the room, and all the crazy shenanigans that go on. Minnie being a manager, and then Josh and relationships been more tested than ever, and everything. Then Josh is pushing the CDs, and then ends up being so popular and becoming #1. Also, the song "Make Me Happy" itself hilarious. I mean, amazing. I wonder why I say hilarious. I think something, but yeah, "Makes Me Happy" is a fantastic song. Fantastic. Probably easily Drake Bell's best song on, in my opinion. Then we get Leroy Helen getting married, and then Frank and X like setting up a fire, and you get because kind of like, I'm not getting your 5K. You're supposed to get $20. At least a very wholesome ending and everything, and then Drake trying to find shrimp, and again a little flashback to the Amanda show that was the skit that made get the show in the first place. So yeah, Rodeo Shrimp is one of the best episodes of the entire show. It culminates the best aspect of the show into one amazing special. And now we get to the last 2 episodes. Now we finally got 2 episodes left time about then on top of the movies, and now I'm gonna get to my overall ranking. Next up we have Helicopter, which is another consistently hilarious episode. Basically, Drake ends up being a certain person to see a helicopter movie, we ends up getting the right helicopter with a skydive lesson. And then Josh is going away, then he ends up tricking them to do so, and he ends up going on a helicopter. They end up knocking out the pilot, they end up knocking out the pilot, even accidentally extinguish the pilot off the helicopter, which is like, oh shh. It's just hilarious, and come with weeks back from Drake and Josh and what happens to the helicopter, and them trying to figure out what's going on. Yeah, it's as hilarious as you expect. In the last episode, and finally, the last official episode of Drake and Josh, all we're talking about is Dance Contest. And again, this show just does well being so consistently hilarious. And this episode is no exception. Basically, John ends up going to a dance contest, trying to find a dance partner. Then Drake, being Drake, ends up stealing his dance partner. And Josh ends up getting another dance partner, and they basically end up fighting. And then Lisa, Drake, and Josh end up actually dancing together. And then that dance sequence itself is one of the best scenes of the entire show. So that scene itself, and especially seeing Audrey and go, oh my god. And then winning is basically Drake wants to get extra credit to Pirate's Gym, as he didn't do what he was supposed to do in the gym, and show up. And then Josh wanting to finally beat Mindy to class. I think it was 2 minutes before they got together, if I remember correctly. But it's still the last episode. And a good way to be and honestly, a good final episode of the show. And honestly, I figured, I don't know if I'm going to include the actual ranking, but I figured I'd talk about the 2 movies that came out, Drake and Josh as well, since I don't think I've talked about them. First up, we had Drake and Josh Go Hollywood, which is the first movie that came out, and it's basically where Drake and Josh somehow managed to put Megan on the wrong plane, and they go get a bag, and they basically ran up on this like weird scheme involving money and all that stuff, and then Josh is become Drake's manager, and he ends up getting a gig at TRL. And it's a pretty good movie, honestly. It basically is just like a long extended episode of the show, and it still embraces the tone and the humor and the greatness of the show. So, yeah, don't have much to say about it, honestly, but it's still a pretty good movie. And then we have Merry Christmas, Drake and Josh, which, if you guys saw my top 10, if you guys saw my top 10 favorite Christmas movie list, this movie was on that list. That's because it is a really great movie, honestly. It's one I always can watch every year on holidays. Like, it plays the best elements of Drake and Josh. We put some supporting characters, and seeing Drake actually trying to fulfill his promise to a little girl, and at least in some very emotional moments and heartwarming moments, but also being consistently hilarious. Taking with the great humor that you expect from the show to do, and it's just a very heartwarming adventure. So I think I'd give them a quick thoughts on both those movies. I don't know if I'm going to count them in the actual ranking, but I think I might as well.